Hello, carpet cleaning world. It's the Tuesday night revolution show for the carpet cleaning industry. And tonight we have a very special guest. Actually, he's a carpet cleaner, a second generation carpet cleaner. We have Sam Miller from Sam's from good old California. So he's on the West Coast there. He's across the United States from me. Hey Sam.
How's it going, Roger?
All right. Hey Sam, tell us a little bit about your carpet cleaning business. Well, tell us what you were telling me about your father and how you got started and where are you at now and what kind of equipment are you working with? Tell us a little bit about you, Sam.
Well, like I was saying, my dad, he was a meat cutter, and all of his brothers, they were into the service station business. At one point in time, they owned gas stations, and then when my uncle Clint one day got a portable unit, carpet cleaner, and he came up and cleaned my dad's house. He went to all of his brothers' houses and started cleaning their carpet, saying, "This is the future." And before you know it, all five of those young men bought a bunch of machines, and they bought an ad in the LA Times and started advertising in 1974. And they didn't really have a lot of training back then, but they started a business. And my dad's business, he sold it a few years back, and it's a couple shops that are left. At one point, though, he had 12 shops doing 12 million a year.
Wow. 12 shops doing 12 million a year. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We would spend 70,000 a week in direct mail advertising. We were probably one of the original bait and switch carpet cleaners. It was, I mean, his first ad in the LA Times, though, with his brothers, was like 5 rooms, $60. And then after a while, I mean, it was 2 rooms, 20, 5 rooms, 40. I remember 2 rooms, $12.50, 5 rooms, $24.95. It's just whatever. I know. I actually worked for him till 2000. I started working full time in the business for him in 1981, and at that point he had one shop. And then by the time I'd left, he had gotten up to 12 shops, and then we shut down a couple after I think the Bush recession or something. But you know how business goes. And then the bottom line, though, is like I tell people today when they ask about that business model or anything, or if they bring it up. You can make money doing it quick, but it's not like in today's society. You can't run a coupon like that, do the bait and switch, or just upsell a lot on these jobs and not get clobbered online. With the online review systems that are out there today, that is not a business model that is going to last for any length of time period. So I went to straight pricing when I left him, but I was used to doing 2 rooms $60.95, 5 rooms $31.95. So I thought, wow, if I do 2 rooms for 50 and 5 rooms for 100, I'm making money. But I never was good at measuring square footage and saying, all right, it's 25 cents a foot and now it's going to be $400 for your house, and oh, that's too much, let me give you 10% off. Oh, that, you know, I don't know. I started off too low, and then for years, didn't take me long though to get like I left my dad in 2000, and it took me about a year or two, maybe 3 years, with a little of his advertising and straight pricing in the phone book to hit 100 grand a year. Wasn't that difficult. And then after that, I mean, I would always raise my rates, but my sales never really went up too much from that point. But instead of doing 1,300 jobs a year, I went to 1,100 jobs a year. Instead of doing 1,100, I went to 900. And but then eventually, I like last year, I had 2 trucks running, and we did 300,000. So not the 12 million my dad was used to, but I think my profit margins are higher than his because my overhead's way less. I mean, when you have that kind of that many people working for you and a lot of subcontractors, everything was subs. We had sub agreements and all that. And
right.
And the downfall for his business, though, was at one point he got hit by the IRS like in 2002, 2004, and they were trying to say all his subs that he had for previous 3 or 4 years should have been employees, and that he owed millions in back taxes for him. And he had when the IRS says you owe them money, you know what they do, don't you?
Yeah.
They take money right out of your account.
Oh yeah.
They take
Oh
anything in your checking account, they start grabbing that. So he was fortunate enough to have a lot of equity in his house, pulled out all of his equity, put it back into the business to cover ads and payroll. And then he
wow.
got a lawyer that stopped them from taking any more money, and it cost him $500,000, but he beat the IRS.
Wow.
But yeah, but after that, everything kind of it was tough to recover from that in business. It and then the one thing too is that as a business owner, my dad he rented all those shops every year. He never really invested in any kind of real estate except for his own home.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, just the one property we worked at in Reseda. If there's a guy listening right now, if you this is it, this is the moneymaker. That one property in Reseda, if he would have just the guy who rented it to us came to him and said 300,000, buy this from me,
Hmm.
and he could have bought it easily. It had 7 units in there. The property's well over $1 million today. Those 7 units rent for over 2,500 each. That's
Hmm.
income property. You pay 300,000, now you got 2,500 a month income property on those 7 units.
Wow.
That's kind of gold in the bank right there if you can get to that point. I mean, you
Yeah.
you don't even have to worry about carpet cleaning when you go into retire. You're happy. But like I was telling you and your fiance, he's in Vegas now. My dad's 79. My mom passed away a couple
Wow.
of years ago,
Sorry to hear that.
and he's always been an active walker. My dad, he'd go out and walk every day, meet people at the park, and so
Hmm.
now he goes and picks up 2 or 3 people at a park in Summerlin, and they drive to Red Rock and hike 3 or 4 miles at 79 years old. And
Wow.
when he gets done doing that, because he had a little meat cutter pension still,
Hmm.
he has a Social Security,
Hmm.
and now he Ubers. He Ubers like in Vegas.
Wow.
79. He's got like 6,000 5-star rides, and people look at him
Wow.
and say, they go, and a 79-year-old, they're looking at him like, "Are you sure?" He goes, "I got 6,000 5-star rides and 60,000 miles on my car. You getting in?" And they get
Wow.
in. So, I mean, you know what? No matter how you end up in life, no matter what you do in life, as long as you're happy and you stay busy, you
Hmm.
can have a good attitude. It doesn't matter how much you could have made, should have made, or would have made. You got to be happy no matter what. Because if you're not, we could all cry over spilt milk.
That's right.
But I do good on my own. I do good. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm very frugal. I
Hmm.
shop for everything I get.
Hmm.
I've always been like if I buy chemicals, I buy in bulk.
Right.
Don't nickel and dime. Don't
Right.
if, paid off like our bulk insurance for the year. We paid it off early. We saved $1,000. Pay it off early. thousand
Right.
dollars. Well, you can go out to dinner a few times a year on that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you
Wow.
got to be smart because it's not easy. And then for me, I don't care. You guys out there, maybe they're making their money on their YouTube, maybe they're making money here or there, whatever. To
Hmm.
me, even if I had $1 million, I don't know if I would go and buy a real expensive car. It's just not something like me and my wife have a Honda. I mean, I
Hmm.
could buy a Corvette if I wanted to. I got the money for it. It just and not grinding on anybody who does that. If you
Right.
do it, it's fine. That's your thing. But to me, it's a bad investment. And to me, I'm at the age. I worked for my dad for all those years,
Hmm.
20 years, and basically I got my 40 quarters for Social Security paid in, but I never saved money working for him because I was only making like 50 grand a year as a manager. And when
Right.
you have 3 kids and a mortgage, you're not saving money.
Right.
But
Right.
since I started my own business, I
Hmm.
got IRAs. We've been slamming into those,
Hmm.
and then I incorporated a few
Hmm.
years back. I went LLC, and what
Right.
that does is it allows me to instead of like just a sole proprietor. I mean, my wife gets her IRA and I get an IRA. What I get is uh, it's it's called a simple IRA for your corporation. Now at
Right.
that point, I can put in like 12,500 a year in my simple for myself.
Right.
Plus, she could still put in her 6,500. And
Hmm.
at my stage of the game, I need to slam as much as I can and hope the stock market goes up. I mean, or at least wins a little bit. If it does continue to win, then I'll be all right. But I just keep slamming as much as I can because I'm not a real estate mogul. I know I preach that. It's a good idea. Like you get a house, keep your mortgage low, leave that house, rent it, have somebody else pay it off, buy another one, have somebody pay that off. You get 3 or 4 houses, and you cash out with some nice real estate. And I mean, I know a lot of successful people who've done that route, but I don't know. The first time someone didn't pay me mortgage rent, I would have a real issue with that. And I don't know. I like to pray for people and love for people, but I don't want to think about murdering people.
No, I hear you. It's funny that you said that about the LLC. I have a gentleman that was coming to the conference that is going to be talking about setting up LLCs for the carpet cleaners or the attendees at the conference. And now that you just brought that up, I mean, I'm really looking forward to you coming. You might as well tell Daddy, Dad, I'm gonna be coming to Vegas on the 6th and the 7th, so I'm coming to visit you because
I got a free ride when I get there. He Ubers, so I.
Yeah, how about it? He said Dad's gonna come pick you up and Uber you around.
I
But
might have to, you know.
I definitely because then when the guy's talking about LLCs, I want you to say what you just said today. You know, I just set mine up and blah 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 because we need that. The cleaners don't realize. Stop putting all the risks on yourself. Set up a LLC, make it a real business, or just let's
Here's
make.
Here's the thing with the LLC, because I can give you a quick rundown because I've been doing it for a while. You pay yourself $2,000 a month as an employee of the company. You pay your taxes on that $2,000 a month, whatever the rate is. Now your capital gains, your tax rate's like 15% instead of 30. You just knock 15% off what you'd pay in taxes. You can slam that into savings instead.
Right.
That's the no-brainer. That's the way why you do it.
Right.
Other than that, you got to keep buying equipment and spending all your money you make.
Right.
And your tax write-off on $100,000 purchase is only $20,000.
Right.
You only save $20,000 and you still spend $80,000.
Right.
Come on now.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. Ugh.
I like my tax write-off, so I will buy equipment when I need it. I just,
right. Well, you see, I like to buy a lot of toys too. I think I saw a post you posted in Waldo's group about how you had some fancy toys too, for carpet cleaning. I think.
Well, I got a Pro 1200. I got a 570, 2 truck mounts. I mean, I got a lot of those little trinkets Joe sells, his lawn darts, all that stuff, and, and I got a full set of repair tools, all kinds of upholstery stuff. I mean, I usually don't shy away from cleaning too many things. I mean, only on my smarter days I say forget it.
You just touched on something else. For years when we first started out, when I first started out, I used to go to John Don's and Interlinks and all the big suppliers. And, I didn't really know. I was a young guy in the business. And I know every time I went in there, I was buying quick disconnects. I was buying cuffs. I was buying hose, like the little things that, Joe sells at Wander's Products that, now I know what I didn't know. And I mean, it's like $14, $9, $12. Like, my money just goes a long way buying things from, not the big supplier from this. I call Joe a specialty supplier because he only sells specialty items. He doesn't sell like real big things, but he sells the little things we need. Look at that. Mikey's Fest 2019.
Las Vegas.
Oh, when is that? When's Mikey having his?
Well, he's doing another one in Phoenix in November 9th, I think. I'm pretty sure that's the date, and that's the big one. That's where like every rock star in the community is gonna be there for that one. So
okay. Wow. So when was the one in Las Vegas? When was that one?
It was in January.
Oh, okay.
They had one like the ICE was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be between both of the shows, between ICE and Nexus, and ICE didn't happen, but he still did the show anyway, or did a little Mikey's Fest where we went in and cleaned the Ronald McDonald House, and a bunch of guys showed up. It's always a good time. Yeah. People enjoy it.
Oh yeah, because he just did one in South Carolina when all the
Right.
Cleaner Connect boys, Chandler, Courtney, and all them, like, yeah, when I actually was at the one, and
Yeah, St. Petersburg.
right.
Right.
Mhm.
Did Courtney go to that one too, or no?
Yeah, that's where I met Courtney Lee. That's
Right.
where I met Chandler Thompson. That's before we all became these Facebook groupers. But yeah, yep, that's when we all met when Mikey had that one in Florida there.
You see what Courtney typed in?
Yeah.
He said he's going to name his Ferrari after me.
Good.
Sam.
Yes.
Sam Ferrari.
Yeah, because you said that you're a common guy. You're not going to buy them expensive cars. So it's Courtney saying, well, I'll buy it and I'll name it after you.
I want to eat when I'm old. I don't want to be like, no, I'm just sell the car. Hopefully.
I get it. I get it.
Hopefully we get our Social Security. That's the real kicker
Yeah.
to saving
Ain't
now,
that-
because what if
yeah.
that goes away?
Yeah, that's scary. Scary.
I tell you, there'll be some uprising in the streets if that drops.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
bunch of 90-year-old dudes with canes swinging.
Oh man, that's crazy.
My dad Ubers. Whatever.
Yeah. I just it's funny. I got a message from Tom Conway today. He might show up on June 6th and 7th at my conference. And I said that'll be funny because you got Tony Dang's going to be there, and then you got Tom Conway thinking about he might come. That'll be like the spinoff of Wands right there. That's going to be a show to watch, if nothing else. If they both show up.
A couple of wand wrestlers.
Yeah, that's going to be
All
crazy.
right.
Gosh. We have
We'll have to keep them apart, just like,
Oh,
all
yeah.
right, no, they're fine. They're good.
I know.
Tony's nice. Tom's a real nice guy.
Yeah.
They just
Wow. But we got a guy, Israel. He's going to bring the new ProChem Everest. He's
the 870 Everest slash the brand new super machine.
Right. He's bringing that. That's where we're going to demo everything. We're going to show the silver bullet, which Joe is donating, as a prize. We're going to show the lie detector thermometer, another gift that Joe is donating as a prize. And we're going to do the Tony Dang demonstration. We're going to do the Tom Conway Devastator demonstration. So these guys can all see for themselves by side, what these great wands do and what they can do and what they can't. And then Mighty has a new swivel that Tony Dang is bringing, the new Mighty Bentley wand. He's bringing that. So,
well, maybe Waldo will show up with his new wand. Waldo's saying his wand's going to be the wand of wands.
No, I didn't even know. Ever since I started dealing with Joe, Waldo cut me off. I didn't know. I didn't know Waldo had a wand.
Well, he doesn't yet, but he says he has got one coming.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm not. Hey, man.
We'll see.
Yeah.
He came up with some BioBrew pretty quick.
Yeah.
And he's got some good smeller too.
Yeah.
And he got a deal to sell clear tracks or workhorses from Workhorse. So he's selling vacuums. Like I keep saying, Waldo's got a daughter in college. He's got to pay to keep her there. It's not cheap. Right. Unless she's on a scholarship, then I apologize. I shouldn't bring that up. I could be wrong.
No, that's fine.
I just know how much college costs. I have 3 kids. My oldest daughter, she's a nurse with a bachelor's. She makes $100,000 a year, and she's paid off all her schooling. My other daughter's a teacher with a master's degree, and then my son went to school, and he's working at aerospace right now for Northrop, doing pretty good. So
yeah, well, you're blessed. You're really
I'm 3 for 3 with taxpayers. I can't do any better.
No, you can't. Wow. What was I going to say, T? So yeah, but so the guys bringing the Everest, so the guys will get to see that. And like I said, they're all. If Tom Conway doesn't show up, I know Tony Dang's bringing a Devastator wand. So one way or the other, they'll all get to play with these things. We'll get to see the lie detector that Joe sells that I keep making all these videos about. It does for me. I just like to know that my water's at 180 at the tip. I just trip on that, and then it just cleans faster. It does some things for me. When I thought I was at 180, I was like at 160 or maybe even 150. If I saw smoke or steam, I thought I was doing something, but it's nice to know exactly where you're at. And it's only $100 tool. It's not like it's going to break you, you know. So
it's a good tool. It's nice to be able to at least check that things are working right.
right.
And especially like if you don't have a flamethrower for heat. But I mean, if you're using a propane, sometimes you don't want to go too hot. I mean,
Right.
some of these guys are melting seams.
Right.
I've done that before with
Wow.
with one of my machines. I had a diesel heater one time. I had the glue come apart on a seam. I was just like, with my RX-20, might have been loose anyway, but whatever. No.
Right. No, it's crazy. What else I want to talk to you about? We talked about equipment a little bit. We talked about the taxes.
I could tell you a couple things though that helped me out the most, real quick, because it has to do with Facebook and at least the online boards. You know, I mean, nobody likes to mention Rob Allen over at Truck Mount Forums much, but I mean, originally, I mean, you see his ads. I don't know how or when. I knew somebody was online, but I just was at first when I was doing this for years. I just did not want to go online and talk carpet cleaning with carpet cleaners after I clean carpet all day. It was just like, yeah, no, I'm good. And so finally, though, one time I ended up on Truck Mount Forums over there, and about a year in, I just saw a thread about Mikey's Fest or Mikey's board, and he didn't say anything about Mikey's board. He just said Mike Payete. And the funny thing is Mike Payete was a cook at a little restaurant in the valley, and he responded to a carpet cleaning ad in the San Fernando Valley about carpet cleaners, and we hired him at our Reseda branch where I worked, and him and his wife both worked for me at one point.
Oh, wow.
It was a long time ago, but they were both vegan back then, and Mike was a nice guy. He was 6'4", and
I know Mike.
He was real skinny back then though, because he would work 5 days and he would get on his Cannondale bike, and then he would go on these like Lance Armstrong bike rides. He'd go ride 125 miles. He'd go from LA up to Lancaster and back again. And he would always, like once a week, take off on these big long bike rides. And I always envied that, thinking, man, that sounds like something cool to do.
Yeah.
But I did a couple long bike rides, but nowhere near 100 miles. That's crazy.
Wow.
But then eventually he moved up north, worked for Coit for years, and eventually he got online, started his board. And the reason I mention it though is after I found out he had a board, I went over there, and then between him and Rob, they fought all the time. So it was kind of like, wow, this is awkward, because I don't know. I don't know Rob's backstory as much as like they do, and so I wasn't really affected by it. But I did learn a lot though on Mikey's board from the guys there. All they kept saying was raise your rates and add more services when you're raising your rates. Add more value. And so, I mean, I'm by far and away not the most expensive carpet cleaner, not even in my area, but I'm not the cheapest either. So, but that's true. We do a pre-vacuum, pre-spray, CRB scrub, rinse with a good one and a truck mount, drop fans, give out shoe covers, you know, and just try to do the best possible job and give the customer the best possible experience, you know. And that's really all you can do, is just to be helpful, listen to them when you get there. It's like one thing Mike was saying one time on his board. He was like, find the pork chop. In other words, find the thing that really bugs them the most and solve that problem, and you'll have a customer for life.
Right.
And that's a pretty good tip right there.
Definitely.
Plus, he told me at one point when I was a little slow, get into tile cleaning. You know, at first it was rough. You start tile cleaning, and all of a sudden you're like, well, what do I use? And you buy these different products, and it's a lot of work. But then when you finally get your products dialed in, it can become very easy. There are still a lot of things you got to be careful for. MDF board, you're waiting the walls, and the wall starts to spread. Getting any kind of splash on any stainless or stuff like that.
I've been there.
A lot of stuff you got to be real careful for and on. But once you dial it in, it's pretty good. Then I tried some stone cleaning. I almost did some air duct cleaning. I did not do the air ducts, but I did pick up the tile cleaning and the stone cleaning. I can do a little bit of it, but I never really took off on that.
Right.
Like nice stone polishing and stuff like that, granite and all that.
Right.
Too many hats. I'm like, I mean, you know what? I'm a really good carpet cleaner. I'm pretty good with upholstery, and I'm great with tile. So, but and to be good with those three things, I'm happy, and I'm pretty good with repairs too. Not
Mm.
the greatest, but I mean, like, if there's stuff I don't do, I got people I can sub to or call out. So,
Right.
and that's important. Know people, to know people. Yeah.
That's true. Um.
Las Vegas? No, no.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's all right. You're going to have another one for the carpet cleaning world in a couple of weeks. You're going to have two of them to wear. You're going to have
Another
one.
shirt, right? What do you?
Yeah.
If I go, I get a shirt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a conference, but you still get all the goodies. Like I told you, you might go home with a bunch of prizes. You might have to say, "Hey, Dad, open up the trunk. I got a wand. I got a filter." Yeah. You know. I mean, it's yay. Why not?
I just come for the soap daddy stuff because he's got all the good soap. You know.
Well, yeah, he's definitely giving away a starter package. I believe Monster Chems is too. So I mean, either way, like I mean, you definitely
Any name brand top of the line stuff works pretty good. I mean, my thing is the way I kind of market myself is I have a little dog I went out and got from Printmaster Gold years ago, and my little ad, it's oops, did I do that?
right.
And I added that into my website, added it on my car, put it
Mhm.
on everything. It's like a little dog, like a cartoon character. And
Right.
so I go after the pet, but I mean, there's lots of different ways to skin a cat when it comes to pet damage.
Right.
Um, like, and for me though, I'm looking for something that, because I'm not charging an arm and a leg for it, going broke on it, because the more you charge for it, the more you better get it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you start charging $100 for pet damage, they want subfloor pads.
Right.
They're going to want to guarantee at some point for
Right.
all that. And so my whole gimmick is it's just I grab, like, it used to be Enzol and Kill Odor Plus, load it in the Hydroforce and just flood spots. If it's tiny dog pee and stuff like that,
Right.
99% of the time you get it. If there's a cat pissing on half a room, that gets harder to get out. So
Right.
then I learned about the OSR and water cloth stuff, and that was huge because I'm not big on pulling carpet and replacing pad. I mean, I can do it,
Right.
and I have done it.
They
But
got to pay me. They got to pay me because I do it too. They got to pay, especially if it's one of
see,
those.
my big thing though, if it's that bad of a loss,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just tell people you're like a quarter of a room that's peed in. I'm like, your first loss is your best loss. I can do all this work and you still have all this contamination. If I don't get it out, now you still have to replace it. I'm like, I'd rather just say if it's that bad and that contaminated, your first loss is your best loss. Now, if they beg me to do it anyway, fine, it's on them. But at least I gave them their best information and they have to make a decision from that.
Right. Right.
Especially if like little kids are on it and they're going to rent it and all this and that. So I don't know.
I had one of those, what are they called? The auto pumps that I had first got from CTI, that the auto mixers that mix the OSR constantly while you're spraying it. And then I have a guy who's real handy right here with me. And he was like, wait a minute, Roger, that's just PVC and a pump. He was like, I can make them and we can sell them ourselves. Because I have a product that I sell called BioClean. And basically it's like the OSR. And so we started making the auto mixers. And like we tell the guys, you got to bring out the auto mixer to spray half a room. You need to charge about $300 for that. And they were getting it and they were making some money. But the auto mixer just constantly mixes the OSR and it just lays it out nice and even. You got a little hose spout on it and you just spray it over the
Kind of
car.
like what Jeff Toburn does with his bucket. He took a big old bucket,
Yeah.
drilled holes in the top,
Yeah.
heats up his water, throws in his OSR, and gets it all hot, and then he just sprinklers it all over the place. Sorry, Jeff, I hacked your name. Jeffrey. He goes, Jeffrey. Now he's going to do a video tomorrow, singing and dancing, saying his name. So
yeah, I like to see him dancing. I'll be cracking. Yeah.
I'm like, what is that? What are you doing? Are you kidding me? Knock that off, man. Oh well, sorry.
No, that's fine. Hey, do you have one of Joe's stair climbers?
I have hose hooks.
Okay, I got those too.
And I like the hose hooks on the 2-inch. I don't go 2.5 all the way into the house. I run a 50-foot 2.5-inch off the truck, and I go 2-inch all the way up to the wand.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, some guys like to go 2.5 all the way in, and there's a little bit of a performance boost there. But I have 3 air paths, so yeah. I mean, those are $600 fans.
Right.
I can dry the carpet pretty good with that. I mean, I carry 7 fans on each truck, so 2 trucks. We go after drying it that way, and rinse, flush, dry stroke, drop fans. The only time the carpet doesn't really get a good drying is when you do 1 or 2 rooms because the fans don't have long enough to run.
Right.
I will leave them once in a while if I know somebody and I can come back and they're like close to my next job, but I generally don't. I like to take them with me because I don't want to hunt for product or hunt for anything.
No, I get it.
I leave enough of those sticky tab rolls in houses to where it's like, well, there goes another $18.
I get so angry when I forget and I leave them right there on the table, the end table. I'm like, and I'll be like, well, I got to order some more now.
Here's the golden rule for carpet cleaning, though. Keep everything between you and your truck, and you might have to step over it to leave it. If you do that, you'll probably not leave it. But it's like my tech. Sometimes he'll take a vacuum and he'll go outside the front door, take the vacuum, turn right away from the truck and set it outside off the side. Take the wand, set it outside to the right, out of the way. I'm like, man, keep it in between you and the truck. You got to step over it to leave it.
Right.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. And now it's 30 miles the opposite way and you don't have a carpet wand. You got to use a rotary to clean it and you can't charge more because
Yeah, no, but you're right. You're right. You're talking. You're talking carpet cleaning language right there. Because see, everyone, including myself, just felt everything you said there. Like now you got to use the mighty, the T-Rex or the power wand to do the next one. And then the client's like, oh, what's that? And you're like, nothing I wanted to use today.
Nothing you're paying for. No.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, at least you have the option to do that. A lot of times I'll carry 2 wands on a truck, just in case, like, say, some brass breaks and I don't have a part to fix it or whatever. Then I have a backup plan. But and then if something does happen, if you have another wand, you can always borrow parts from one to fix the other. No.
I'm gonna go you one better. After I talked to Joe, after I bought the first solution line, he was like, Roger, how long are your normal hose runs? I said, excuse me? He said, how long are your normal hose runs? Now I'm like, wait a minute. I go to John Don's all the time. I buy 50 feet lengths of hose. So I buy about 4 of them for about $300 or whatever. And he's asking me how long. So I had to think about it. And I said, well, I would say between 100 to 125. So he said, well, that's what I'm going to sell you. And I was like, what? He's like, see, that's the difference from dealing with a specialty guy like Wander's Products versus going to a major supplier. They want to sell you 50 feet of hose. I'm going to tell you why. They're going to make money on the cuffs. They're going to make money on all the brass quick connects. And audience, they want you to do that because that's how they make their money. When I went to Joe and he said that, I was like, oh, I didn't think about it. He said, but I'm going to sell you 2 125 lumps of hose. I'm like, what? So now I'm thinking he's trying to get over on me. And then he explained. He said, no, if one burst, you can go ahead and wrap it up and you'll have a backup so you can finish the job. No one has ever told me that before in the industry. Now I have a whole backup solution line in my truck that thank God I hadn't had to use yet, knock on wood, of course. But it's there. So I'll never have to say, Miss Johnson, I got to come back in a couple hours, blah, 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 or try to put a gator crimp on it or whatever I have to. So it's just like these little things. It just saved me. And, then he has the bend restrictor. I never knew about that before. So right where the hose bends, at the wand where you connect the quick connect, it gives you that it has that bend restrictor on it, so it doesn't let the hose kink all up and crink all up, because that's where it.
Well, some of these guys drop a wand too sometimes, and that hits the ground, and right where that wand hits, sometimes you can pop it, and that restrictor gives it a little more support.
Right.
But like you were saying, I run 100 feet. I got the 100-foot sections. Then I got 150 foot, so I don't have to break off too much more. And then I have another 100-footer behind that, because I only carry 250 on my truck. But like you were saying, what I noticed when I used to carry 50-foot sections all the time is whenever I had a burst, it was always in the house, somewhere in between, close to that joint in the middle.
Right.
And or even at the wand.
Right.
And now, though, I don't know. I have not had a burst in a home in a long time.
Me neither. That's what I'm. And then, but the thing is, too, the thing that I want to just add to it, Joe. I called you Joe. Sam.
All right.
The thing is, it's $3. The bend restrictor is free $3, and it can save you a heap load of trouble by just putting in. The next thing I bought was the spiral wrap. And I, normally I have all these burns on the side of my shin or my kneecap there, because my hose, at 200 degrees or 180, it's knocking my knee when I have some shorts on. And I'm like, ouch, ouch. And I'm like, wait a minute. It has to be a way. So I'm just going through Wander's product site, and I'm like, what's this? And then, of course, Joe gives you an explanation for everything. And I was like, I need that. And so $14. Now, for the last week, I haven't had no burns on the side of my knees. And it's getting hot out here in Pennsylvania right there on this time of year. So I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah, and muggy too. But then it looks like cold weather's coming your way again, because it's hitting here. And it seems like it's blowing that way.
Wow.
I don't know if it's coming or not. Check your forecast.
Yeah, I will. But, getting back to what you said about carrying 2 wands on the truck. I do too. I got two of Tony Dang's wands there. But you know what? What I like about the new swivel, I don't have anything against the Devastator, but since I, helped Tony sell some of his products in the group here, he has an option. You have some guys that want a 2-inch wand, and then you got some guys that want a 1.5 inch, right? So what Tony and I came up with, we'll sell you 2 poles that connect into the, the bottom, the head of the wand. One is a 1.5 inch and one is a 2 inch. So if you have a technician that, doesn't like the 2 inch or doesn't control it well, you can still have the same head and put a 1.5 inch in there. Let's say you got to fire him, or maybe you like a 2 inch. So you can take the 1.5 inch out and you can put the 2 inch. So you get both poles in the head for $1,200. I thought that was very smart on Tony's part, because now you got the best of both worlds with whatever, is comfortable for your technician or you. And, the Devastator by itself is what, about $1,600-1,700, and you only get the one pole. So I thought that was kind of cool on Tony's side, trying to stay alive with his V3 wand.
Well, I think he's trying to also get a copy of the Devastator 12-inch that's already, because the 12-inch Devastator is not the 14-inch, and it comes with the 1.5 inch pipe. But the nice thing about it, though, is it's great for portables and great for old dudes.
Right.
It's like an old dude. All right, old dude one. Woo-hoo.
You talking about us, Sam?
I think so. I'm 55. I don't know how old you are, but I'm up
48.
There, so.
I'm 48.
All right, so dang. So at 55, like Mikey P's like 53 or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, this is for us old dudes, Sam." I'm like, "Speak for yourself." Gun show. All right, sorry, I had to do that for my guys. Stupid.
Hey, no, I'm having a ball talking to you today, man, because it's just real. It's real cleaners, real talk. I'm not talking to a supplier that I gotta like. I'm not talking to one of the old guys in the industry that has his old version of everything. It's just good today talk.
Well, I think too, though, part of doing a better job is being relevant. I
Right.
do a lot of product testing. I'm not
Hmm.
like sold on any one product. I do find I like certain products better than others. Like I'm a
Right.
big fan of CTI's Firestorm when it comes to
Yeah.
real nasty polys. It's just one
Right.
of the harder products to beat.
Hmm.
I did the Savage Serum was pretty good on some real bad, filthy urine damage jobs.
Right.
I do
So
like.
caddy.
What
Yeah.
I was going to say too, though, is like I said earlier about ChemSpecs, Enzol, and Kilodor Plus is because you can mix that up in a Hydroforce, blast it down, did a pretty good job. So then I went to like Magic Swan's Grease Eater, which basically it has a little bit of enzyme action in it
Hmm.
for some pet, but it's got a lot of oxy. It's got a lot of sodium percarbonate, and it'll
Hmm.
effervesce. Won't overflow the bottle, but then you throw something like a Sagerside in there with it or anything like that, and then if you flood out your pet stains with your Hydroforce, does a fairly good job on smaller pet jobs and stuff like that. To where when you stick your nose down there and sniff, it's
Right.
gone. That's
Right.
the test. I mean, because
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
they're going to do when you're gone. That's what your
Right. That's
customer is
what
going
I'm
to
going to
do.
do. Yes,
They're
sir.
going to do like the song says, get down on it. Get down on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know what you
So,
mean.
but then I'm using the Soap Daddy and the P-Sor, and that's just as effective as anything I've ever used too, because it's a
Yeah.
1-2 punch. In the Hydroforce, mixed hot, the Soap Daddy also has a lot of sodium percarbonate that effervesces also.
Right.
But Sagerside has a lot. Sager, not Sagerside, but Sager's Code Red has a lot of oxy too. Sometimes it if you mix it too hot, it'll flash out, but because
Right.
it's really loaded with oxy. But
Hmm.
and it's a good cleaner also.
Right.
And lots of good products out there. Lots of ways to be effective on
Right.
pet stuff.
Mm.
Um, and but I'm a big fan like a CTI, their Last Step Rinse,
Hmm.
and just a lot of different things. Even the new ProChem's Ultra Pack Extreme is a pretty good product too,
Right.
as a pre-spray goes.
Yeah.
But a lot of these things are 12 pH, and
Yeah.
it used to be easier to clean carpet. Then they came out with polyesters that made us all look stupid.
Right.
And then for years we couldn't figure them out until we got delaminine and everything and
Right.
had to soak them with that
Yeah.
and get it as hot a water as possible. And then we'd still struggle to get them clean and stay clean,
Right.
crushed out pile and all that.
Mhm.
And all these newer carpets that just,
Mhm.
it's always a learning experience. It's always like something new.
Have you had a chance to test out the Dang Pro One? Have you had the chance to check that out yet?
I've seen some of his older versions at some suppliers that were kind of flopping around, and I've heard a lot of things, positive and negative, from different people. And I've never bought one or used one. I've seen his new one. I think I've been kind of vocal because it looks just like my $1,800 Devastator. The
Right.
head's perfect, but
Mhm.
whatever. That's not, I mean, I don't know.
I'm just curious.
I'm not in the market to buy any more
Right.
$1,800 wands. I just bought a $1,300 Devastator and at
Right.
Christmas, but it was the 12-inch.
Hmm.
I don't know, even sometimes I wonder why I bought that. But
Right. Just like
here's
the.
the thing: those wands,
Hmm.
like Mike used to say when they first came out with the Devastator, he would say that Mikey P would say it'll take your 4.5 blower truck nut and turn it into an Aerotech.
Mm.
And the reason is because of the open slot glide on it, locks down the weight of the head. It's
Mhm.
almost like running an old ProChem quad without a glide. It will lock down on the carpet, and all of a sudden now you're having a lot rougher time pushing it. Well, why did we go to glides? To make it easier on us.
Right.
But even that Devastator 14-inch with just the slot glide,
Hmm.
it will lift carpet off the ground. You could pull carpet off the tackless in some
Hmm.
places with it. And I'm
Wow.
sure that probably even the Dang wand will do that. But the nice thing is with Tom's wand is he'll sell you a whole glide too. If you don't have a lot of debris, you can switch those glides out real quick.
Mm.
And the whole glide is a pleasure. Just ask Marty Sutley. Marty loves the whole glides on everything because he's an older dude, not
Yeah,
like
I
some
know,
old
Marty.
dude. He's not like an old dude. He's an older dude. No, sorry,
Right.
Marty. Um,
Yeah. Oh wow. Um. Wow, that's interesting. I'm hoping Tom Conway does show up. I just think that would be good face, and then he can tell us for himself what the Devastators, the specialties are, and all that. Because we don't, we see Tony Dang's videos all the time, and what makes his wand so great. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I cannot say anything bad about the Devastator. I did get to test it when it first came out at that Mikey's Fest that we were just speaking out in Florida. But
And
that's
that was the one Tom built with all the parts he bought from
right.
Tony. Right.
Oh, wow. So I did get to meet him and I did get to get it in my hands, but I didn't really get to test it that day. Everything was the bonzer and the zipper and all of that stuff going on that day. But
hell, Mikey thought that one was the shiz. All
yeah.
his guys wouldn't give it up ever
Yeah.
on his Aerotech. They loved it, even
Mm-hmm.
when they were falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Tom is. They're much happier with the swivel that Tom has on his thing now, on his Devastator now. I've never had a problem with it. The only time I had a problem with it, I lubed it once, and the 4 set screws kind of came loose, and I had a dickens of a time figuring out a way to get him to lock back in.
Oh.
And he says, "Didn't you get the little bottle of Loctite that came with the wand, the tiny little bottle?" I'm like, "Yeah." Put that on the screws and put them back in. Oh, okay. I did that, and they never came back out. But I only lube it like once a year, but it's been a very good one, very good swivel. And once you do go to a swivel, it's like the big advantage is those houses with beds. Like, people, can you get under the bed? Yeah, and I ain't even gonna move it.
Right. Now I've had the Mighty Bentley swivel for the last about 9-10 years now. Of course, I retired it once I got the Dang wand, but no, I know exactly what you're saying. That wand really changed things with when the swivel came up. But I just want to let you know. Now, the only thing that I can say about the Devastator versus the Dang wand. See, the thing is that Tony likes to tell you when the swivels wear out.
It's about $700. No,
wow. Yeah, that's the other thing. But the thing is, when the swivel wears out on the Dang one, you can repair it, or he'll repair it, or something is he can repair it. The only thing is when the Devastator swivel wear out, so they say, then it's done.
But when you buy a Devastator, Tom gives you a guarantee on the swivel. So originally I think it was a guarantee though. If it goes bad, you send him the head and he'll put a new swivel on it. I think now though he's realizing he can't afford. I think you have to pay for it now to put a new swivel on it. So it's like $125 to replace the swivel. I think. I'm not sure. So far I haven't had to replace a swivel though, and I've had my wand almost 3 years.
Okay.
So, and I know some guys who've had it 4 years and they haven't had to replace it. I think
right.
I think after 3 years, about that. Maybe not quite, maybe 2.
Right.
And I let my guys use it. See, unlike some of these guys, like Mikey, he never would buy one for his guys in Santa Cruz to use because he was afraid they would, like, I'm not spending $1,800 on a wand. Those guys are going to break it. Right. Well, they might not break it, but they'll certainly run it over with an Aerotech, probably accident. Whoa!
Wow.
Because they did run over his Taiwan once, I think. So
wow.
There's that. Can you please get off the wand? When I first got my my Pro 1200, I put my brand new Sapphire $1,300 wand, and I backed up, and all of a sudden I realized it was under the van, and I pulled forward, and it dented just a little bit of the right under the handle, just into the pipe, just barely. And it still works great. I'm just like, well, I'm gonna have to move that handle up on that dent. And I'm like, oh wow, Sam, don't run over wands.
Hey Sam, what I wanted to ask you, what color hose do you have? What's your company color hose?
Well, all my machines are blue and all my hoses are blue.
Oh, okay. So okay.
I was Pro Chem for years, and now I'm Sapphire. So You know, I love my Pro Chem units. I had two 405s. They were great. I had a Legend. I had my first machine when I first left my dad, because
Mhm.
things kind of got tight working for him for a while there.
Mhm.
I was getting my 48 hours a week, but I was getting a 3% commission on sales on this, what the shop did. And normally we do 10,000. So I'd get a $300 bonus plus
Correct.
my $650 base pay. Well,
Mm.
what happened was my ads dropped from like 3,000 a week down to 1,000. And all of a sudden my sales went from 10,000 to 4,000. So now all of a sudden my commission was only 120.
Oh,
And that's just like over a month period. That's a big loss
yeah,
when
huge.
you're living check to check. I
Right.
was living
Yeah,
check to check.
I
Three
get it.
kids, a mortgage. You start
Woo!
trying to do creative financing quick at that point.
Right. Right.
God ain't getting no money this week.
Right.
Sorry, God, love you, but I got to keep me some do re mi. I
Oh,
know. I lack faith.
hey
Forgive
Sam,
me.
let me ask you. I think. Well, how are you getting up talking in front of people? Can you do you feel comfortable?
Oh, we'll see about Vegas. I'll let you know. I got to check my schedule.
Okay,
Come
because
on.
I think they hear from you. You hit on a lot of things tonight. I know a lot of guys are going to watch this. This is huge. This was good. You really touched on some real topics that relate to today's problems, and you know you're definitely, like everyone, that I talked to that spoke of you said, oh, Sam's a good guy, very knowledgeable, but one of your biggest fans is that good old Joe. Joe was like, oh, I want to see Sam on there. I said, well, I don't really know him. He said, well, get to know.
Huh. Yeah, I've talked to Joe a lot on the phone over the years. I
Yeah,
don't think I've talked to him in a few years, but I've talked to him a lot over the years.
yeah,
But I like a couple. I talked to him like now on Facebook. We comment.
right,
So
right, right. Well, that's
and
the new thing. You just said we're staying relevant. That's the new thing. Nobody wants to talk over the phone anymore when you can type a sentence or two and then come back an hour later and type some more. Right? That's the new
you
thing.
know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like talking on the phone sometimes.
Well,
One of these
that's
days one of these days I'll pick up the phone and call him. But I don't know. I don't want to Rob Allen. I don't want to talk to him about Mikey. I just want to say, hey,
yeah.
things are good. The kids are great.
No, I
I
get
always tell him like how good my kids are doing. And that's my big thing. Every time I go to a house over the last 20 years, like when my kids were little
it. Mhm.
and they were being homeschooled or whatever, and now here they all are adults. My oldest daughter owns a condo. My son rents from her, so we got rid of him.
Wow,
And then my other daughter's doing really well. And it's just
that's awesome.
all you can hope for is that they do good and they're happy.
That's it. That is total. I have 4 of my own, and you just said it. You hit it right on the nail. You just hope that they keep being prosperous and do what they're supposed to do, and you know,
Make good choices, make good
yes,
friends, stay
yes,
out of trouble,
yes.
and don't be afraid to work for it, because there's
Right.
nothing easy. There's nothing easy.
Nothing.
And that's one thing that they could look at me. I mean,
Hmm.
I've always worked 6 days a week
Hmm.
forever. And but I've always came home at night and I've always spent time with my family.
Right.
And to me, that is the most important thing I could do.
Yes.
I mean,
What else do we work for, right, Sam? That's it.
nothing,
That's
nothing. That's it. Now they're all moved out, and I got to beg them to come home. Like my two of them came home the other day, and we watched the Game of Thrones
right.
finale, so that was
Oh,
good.
yeah.
We go to see our Captain Marvel movies or
Yes.
our all that together. We love our movies
Oh, yeah.
together, so
Mhm.
we got a lot of stuff. And me and my son, we both play Xbox together, so I try to stay
Oh,
a little relevant with it.
right.
I'm 55, but I'm a stone cold killer. If you got an Xbox and you want to go, let me know. Um, so
Wow. You know what? Hey, Sam, I'm going to bring you back in here at the end of the year. I knew it was going to be good because, like I said, but Joe, because I said, well, I haven't really met Sam, and then Joe was like, well, I'll give you his number. I was like, no, I'll reach out to him myself, and that's what I did. And like he said, you were like, yeah, I'll come in. We've had Dan Uddy in here, all you guys from Waldo's group. coming here and share some of your knowledge, and it's just,
Oh,
you
well,
know.
I'm more of a Mikey's boarder, but I know
Oh,
Waldo from Mikey's board from years ago, before him and Mike fell out. So, and I kind of liked him back then. He put me on his top 25, so I kind of owe him.
yeah.
He has his list. He does, where the top 25 country cleaners in the nation. And I went to a Mikey's Fest in Vegas in like 2009, 13. I don't remember the year. It was a way to 14 or whatever.
Hmm.
And that year, for some reason, you go to a Mikey's Fest, you make the top 25. So that's what you got to do, Roger. You got to have like a top 10 carpet cleaners and our top 100 carpet cleaners. The guys who show up at your thing get in.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, I know you got to go.
All right, thanks a lot, Sam. Everyone, Sam Miller. A stand for applause. Hey, Sam, thanks again, and I'll be talking to you soon, buddy.
All right, thank you very much, and I'll talk to your girlfriend tomorrow.
Yeah,
And get that information, and I'll see what I can do.
awesome. Thank
All
you
right,
so
thanks.
much, Sam. Bye-bye
Take care.
now.
Bye.